Hello everyone, this is Borna Kazerani from Melbourne, Australia. I hope you're doing fine. Tonight, I'm gonna have a conversation with Chris Leib. Just give me a sec. Chris Leib is an American artist from San Francisco Bay Area who currently lives in Berlin. He began his education in anthropology at the University of California at Berkeley. He later studied at the Academy of Art in San Francisco, after which he apprenticed with a master Italian painter, Roberto Lupetti. During this time, he also began working as an illustrator for McGraw-Hill Publishing. Chris Leib has exhibited his work across the United States, as well as in Germany, France, Denmark, and Australia. A classically trained painter, Leib has spent many years applying Renaissance techniques to the subject matter outside traditional boundaries. Leib's paintings typically feature astronauts in royal garb or Bonobo chimps and astronauts in various art settings that are loosely inspired by the species' misinterpretation of historical context. Despite their dark tones, the subjects are characterized by humor and exploration of heroic imagery. Leib has twice been an artist in residence at the De Young Museum in San Francisco and has received competitive grants from the George Sugarman Foundation and the San Francisco Art Commission. His work can be found in important public and private collections in the United States and Europe. Let me take you with me to talk to Chris. Chris! How you doing?
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you. How you doing? How are the things in Germany?
It's good, it's good.
Okay, so do you want to say hi to those who are watching us now or maybe later on?
Hello, everybody.
Thank you very much for being here. I really appreciate that. And I've gotten lots of questions. People's questions have already started coming through. And can you hear me well?
Can you hear me at all?
Yeah. You can hear me well?
It's a little bit low, but I can make it out a little bit.
Okay, I try scream.
Okay.
Okay. So, how long have you been living in Germany for, and why Berlin?
So it's almost been 2 years now. I came here originally in I think it was 2009. I had a solo show here, and we've been back and forth a few times, and we really liked it here. My wife is Danish, and we thought about moving to Denmark, but it got a little complicated. We thought we'd stay in Berlin a little bit first, and then we loved it. So it's got a great art community. There's really good opportunities for artists here. So it's really
I had a plan to go to Germany before the COVID-19 kicked in in the world. So we're just living the limbo without really knowing that what's going to happen in the future, really. So
it was a good time for us to move.
What's that?
I said it was a good time for us to move.
Yeah. So one of the reasons that I wanted to talk to you, of course, apart from your amazing work as a professional painter, is a theme you've chosen to paint. However, I know you studied anthropology, which I believe they are so connected to each other. So talk to me about that, please.
Yeah. I studied anthropology in college. So obviously I had an interest in chimps and primates. And it's kind of been a running theme. I started off as doing more classical work, like so portraits and still lifes. And I became kind of, it got tiring after a while. It wasn't that interesting after a while. You know, once you get the technical skills down, it kind of, I didn't find anywhere to go with it. I kept having chimps, you know, showing up even in my still lifes, you know, on the side or whatever. So eventually I actually started a series of astronaut paintings. I had a strong interest in, say, early Renaissance and icon paintings. And I was just kind of playing around with, I had a book of cosmonauts and astronauts and was playing around with some portraits of cosmonauts, but very distorted and kind of psychedelic backgrounds that were, you know, Renaissance style inspired. And eventually those led to a whole series of astronauts in the Garden of Eden, basically in old Renaissance paintings. So they were distorted, so these kind of heroic figures that were distorted, and they were going in and kind of running amok and trying to create the fall and so forth. You know, they were just really kind of agent provocateurs of the fall of man, you know. So it was this kind of weird thing. Anyway, I eventually a show came up where I thought about doing you know, went back to, I guess, you know, the Planet of the Apes and 2001, you know, from my childhood. These were, you know, kind of inspiring yeah, things that fascinated me back then, science fiction and so forth. And that the ape theme, I thought for this particular show, I thought, well, I'll do a pietà of an astronaut holding a chimp. And then I kind of reversed it. And the next thing I knew, I was doing like, well, what about a Madonna child? And I had the baby astronaut. And the image was just, you know, powerful, has a lot of different levels. And it's kind of gone from there. So that was back in, God, maybe 7 or 8 years ago. So, or more.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's just chimps from that point on. Yeah.
Absolutely. So another thing that, another interesting and unique things that I love in your work are the elements of the helmet and chimps in your paintings. What's the story behind them?
Behind the chimps or the helmets or the everything? Well, the astronaut, I mean, the helmets, you know, are obviously connected to the astronauts, like this one back here. So that was also about the same time I did the chimps and the, you know, the baby astronauts. I was also working on a series of these queens, these royalty, with astronauts, again, kind of pulling that theme. And that was actually came about for a group show at a place called Wonderland in San Francisco. And it was their anniversary show, and it was Wonderland, and I was doing these astronauts, you know, in Eden, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And the Wonderland, it was their anniversary, so I thought Alice in Wonderland. I'm like, I don't know what to do. And I was like Queen of Hearts, and I thought, I got this image in my head of like, well, what about putting an astronaut in the Queen of Hearts? And I started to draw that out, and it's a really strong image because you have this, the Queen, right, which is royal portraits, which were naturally designed to kind of create a gap between the peasantry, right? So it's kind of got an otherworldliness quality to it. It's you know, something that keeps people apart. It's unapproachable, right? So putting the astronaut helmet in there with that kind of blank stare, it just made it all just very powerful, iconic. Iconic image, and so and then it kind of it went from there. I started to do those, and I was doing the chimps and the baby astronauts on the side at that time. And so, anyways, I got caught up with the chimps and the astronauts for quite a while, and was doing less of the queens. But I did a solo show in Melbourne in 2019 in the summer. And I did so many chimps, and I did so many chimps, I was just like, I need to go back to these queens again. So that's what I've been doing now through COVID. So
I know. We've spoken last night, and you were here last September. Last September?
what's that?
You were here last September?
I actually have never been. I sent the show. I've never been to Australia. So
Oh,
in
so
Melbourne.
I misunderstood. I thought probably you were here for your show.
No, I wasn't actually. I ended up not going to the show, but I hope next time. I'd love to go. Yeah.
So, as soon as I came across your Instagram page and started looking at your paintings, the very first feeling that I encountered with was the mixture of the sense of care which has been shown through the chimps in most of your paintings and that strange astronaut. So,
I missed. I'm sorry. I missed part of what you said in the beginning.
okay, I'm gonna repeat the question again. I know there is you can't hear me well. So as soon as I came across your Instagram page and started looking at your paintings, the very first feeling that I encountered with was the mixture of sense of care, which has been shown through the chimps in most of your paintings, and that strange astronaut. So, am I right? Is that what you want to convey, or is that? Tell me about that. And I've also noticed that in each one of your paintings, you only use two elements: the helmet, sorry, the chimps, and also astronauts.
Yeah.
But the message you want to convey to audience is different. Are you going to continue this theme, or will this project stop at some point?
Yeah, I think well, to answer the last part of the question, I think I've kind of tied up everything I'm going to do with at least with the two figures, astronauts and chimp. That was originally a setup with a Madonna child, playing off the Madonna child theme, So yeah, the chimp is kind of more. What's that?
What's that?
The Madonna child. So the kind of Renaissance, the Madonna holding the baby Jesus. So there's a ton of paintings of this. And so some of the initial ones were based on those poses, and pretty much copies of those poses, but with the chimp imposed and the baby astronaut. Anyway, so it's kind of gone from there and evolved, but I feel like I'm done with it. So, however, I still use those elements and looking to put them into more narrative, bigger scenes. I'm working on the Queen paintings again, which are also, a lot of the stuff is based kind of on, thematically on portraiture, right? So the Queens are royal portraits, the baby astronauts are also, portraiture. And the helmets, they have, within those, you'll see a lot of reflections and other stories going on. So there's kind of a secondary narrative going on there. So even with the Queens, within especially some of the early ones, a lot of that clothing in the old royal portraits is full of a lot of symbolism and full of a lot of sort of kind of a mapping of power, if you will. So there's a lot of symbolism for the families and blah, blah, blah. Things like the queen putting her hand on a globe, to symbolize world domination. So I'm playing off some of that in these paintings. And in the helmets, there's various things reflected in there, everything from the bombing of Dresden to, whatever. It depends on the painting. So
yeah. Well, as I've said, the very first sense of feeling that I received as soon as I started looking at your work, like the sense of caring, you know what I mean? That's how I got it. Like when the chimps is like holding the astronaut and
right. Well, I want to. so in the past, you know, the chimps have always been played off of as like these kind of diminutive humans. They're lesser humans, right? And, you know, they're fully equipped for what they've been brought into the world, or what they've evolved in the world to be. And so I wanted to kind of reverse that idea, like the little baby astronauts, they're diminutive, they're infantile, they're usually running amok and, you know, uncontrollable with all this technology. And the chimps, you know, if you will, representing kind of the other end of our evolutionary spectrum, even though they're not.
No,
they're not. But they're, yeah, you know, they're the ones showing the care and the wisdom and the trying to, you know, keep it down. So
yeah, it's very beautiful. I'm really interested to know what kind of audience do you have. So you've experienced many exhibitions so far, and what is or are the most common question or questions about your work?
I think you've asked them. You've covered a couple of them. You know, why chimps? Why astronauts? So
that's terrible.
Is that a skull reflected in the helmet? What is that? So, yeah, that's yeah. When I used to paint portraits, I used to do the noses a little too red, and people would always ask, you know, what's up with your noses? But so now it's what's up with these chimps. But yeah. So the audience, though, you know, a lot of the showings are at kind of what you call pop surreal, dark surreal, you know, audience typically. So that's I guess the genre of painting that it fits into, if it does.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. So now I want to ask you a favor, and you know what that is. So let's do it. If it's possible, please give us a tour. So show us around. If there's any project that you're working on, which would be great to watch it. And you're a director right now, so grab your phone and do whatever you want to show us.
Okay, I'll start with what's behind us here. So hold on a second.
Slowly, let's enjoy. Don't go fast.
1 second.
And there is a reverse button. You can reverse it.
Yeah. Okay. These are my brushes.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. So we got some nice. I use a lot of these. I might as well just bring you through it all here. Use a lot of these cheap, small ones, but they work great. These liner brushes. I always recommend them to my students.
They do work.
They do most of the work for me. So, so this is. I don't know if you can see it here. Let's see. Back it up. So this is what I'm working on now, and it's kind of got a bee theme going. As you can see, there's going to be a lot. It's still in progress, but there's going to be a lot of bees around, making part of the headdress here. So,
wow.
And then, you know, there's this pattern, you know, the honeycomb kind of pattern.
Slow. Let's see it. Let's watch it.
Sure. So it's.
And are they bees?
Yeah. So these will be. I have to, you know, paint them in a little more, but those will be the bees, and they'll kind of fade out as they get up here. Still not sure what's going to go on in here yet, but yeah. So there's that one, and let's see. I'll start with the queens here, and then. So this was an old sketch I was pulling out to redo. I have a bunch of eyeballs on it. I don't think I'm going to keep with the eyeballs, but and this was a paint sketch of a queen. So I have another studio. I'm working at home right now during this whole, yeah. So at my other studio, I've got some queens going that are a little bit bigger, but these were, I figured I'd do some paint sketches while I was in lockdown here, so.
So you're working on all of them at the same time, or what's going?
Yeah. So I'll usually work on anywhere from 5 to 10 paintings, you know, that are going at the same time. A lot of times because you know, I might come in and do maybe an hour or two on a painting, and then I have to let it dry. And I can switch them out because it's oil paint. So, yeah, and I don't use a lot of, what do you call it? A lot of drying agents. So it's, this was an old one, actually. It's just on the wall here. But it's very tiny, actually.
I love this one. I love big eyes.
I don't know what I was thinking when I did this one, but I love doing the eyes.
I love it. What's this? Because you use big eyes usually in your paintings. Am I right?
Yeah, a fair amount. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's the funnest part to do. So a low battery thing here going on. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Let me just get in here. Oops. Okay, I think that, well, I'm going to be a little limited in range here. Okay, so this is, move this one out of the way. So this is more of a narrative.
Sorry, can you go back to the other one that you were showing us?
Yeah, I've got a cord attached to it, so I can only get to about here.
Sorry. Yeah, it's good. So I want to know about the idea behind this. What's the presenting?
You know, I did this a while back, and it was kind of I guess you might say it's kind of sort of a kind of I don't know what you, more of a kind of a caricature of America in a sense, right? You know, without getting too detailed. But yeah, so there's another little caricature up there.
That's all right.
The more recent ones, but anyway, and then should I go to the next one? Or you want to?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
No problem. So this was one that I've been, you know, kind of off and on working on. It's kind of based on a composition by an illustrator called.
More light, or it's a little bit dark. I can't see.
Yeah.
Much what's going on.
Let me see if I can. A little better.
Okay. Yeah. Better. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'll bring it up.
That's all right. Click on the screen where the paint is. Click on the screen. On the screen on your iPad screen. Yeah, it's getting darker now.
Okay. Yeah. Hold on.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah. So let me see if I can change the lighting on. Sorry about this. There we go.
Much better.
Yeah. So it's based on a composition by Charles Bragg. I think it's called Mad World. And I'm still in process on it, or in progress on it. But anyway, so I'm doing some more starting more narrative pieces. And so I'm going to be working with some of the Queen imagery as well, with a little more narration, I think. So and you can see kind of the nice textures.
Okay. Yes. If you step a little bit back, I can. Yes. Wow, that's very.
Yeah. take you on a tour of the other parts of the studio. Let's see. I have prints that I work, and you've probably seen this one from the website. It's just a print of it, but I just had these done. So, and then I had the this one. This one went around the internet for a while. It was Mother. So it's a combination of Whistler's Mother painting with the mother from Aliens. It was for a show. It was kind of fun. But yeah. So anyway, so then there's some older ones, works in progress that I have in the studio. And let me bring you over to some.
I haven't seen this one on your Instagram. I haven't.
No, I haven't. These were. Sorry, this one over here is. There's one on my Instagram that this one's based on. It was kind of a paint sketch. This one here was. I was originally putting in a show. It never quite made it there, but it's got some nice, stuff going on in the head there that I had fun with. I was going to do Mickey Mouse ears on it, but it's, I really like the texture and so forth. So, and then bring a couple over here. This is the big easel. It's always fun.
That's okay.
So these were some others I've been working on.
My God. They're very interesting. Actually, I haven't. Yeah, this one maybe the middle one.
This one?
Yes, yeah, I've seen that one on your Instagram. Am I right?
You may have. Yeah, there was this one.
Yes, sorry, it was this one.
Yeah. It's same idea, same theme. And then I was doing kind of playing a different pairing. I thought maybe I'd do a purple one, but. And then this little guy here.
Wow.
A little diptych. Yeah, it's still in progress, but.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I got in the studio right now. Yeah.
Please go back and have a seat. I don't want to bother you.
Oh, no.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Give me a second to hook this up because it's got a little bit of a little tricky here.
Okay, take your time. Chris.
Yeah.
I think social platforms like Facebook, Instagram help artists around the world to show their works. But on the other hand, don't you think it makes people less interested to go to exhibitions for visiting artists' works?
I don't know. I could see that being a possibility. I'm usually I'm working, so I don't get to and we've been moving around and stuff, so I don't get to the group shows and the shows as much. So I actually don't know what the what the audience attendance is.
Yeah, but what is your impression? You don't need to experience that.
Yeah. I know from doing open studios and that sort of thing in the past, like the audience has gone further and further down from what I've noticed, from back in 10, 15 years ago. But on the other hand, you're reaching a lot of people who wouldn't necessarily go to shows, who maybe want to, who maybe are in areas where they aren't able to get to those shows. So it's kind of I don't know, it's like everything. It's got pluses and minuses, right? So.
Okay. And there are many questions. I've been sorry, just get distracted through these people's questions. Sorry. Have you done a big painting on a big canvas? Or I think it's one of the question.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. No, I've done a few large size pieces. Most of them are my stuff is small to medium in the last years, mainly because we've been moved. You know, we moved from California to New York and then back, and so this is actually we're kind of stable now again, and so yeah, now I'm starting to do some bigger work again. And I used to work for a company in New York too, where we did really large pieces, like huge, you know, like corporate lobby size work. So I love doing really large work. So I'm looking forward to some bigger canvases again, and a lot
okay.
of characters and figures in it. So yeah.
There is an interesting question, and it's my question, but I didn't want to ask. So, does the Germany government help artists? I mean, new beginners,
Uh,
or there is no supports? Do you know anything about that?
a little bit. Yeah, I mean, they have what kind of I don't know if you call it like a union sort of thing, but it's something like that for healthcare and pension, that kind of thing. But it is hard to get into. You have to prove that most of your money comes from art, um, you know, or illustration or something, you know, one of the categories they approve of. So it would be hard, I think, you know, if you're starting off. But I don't know if they have caveats for that, like if you just graduate from school, if you can be on that for a little while. I really don't know the details about it. Um, but yeah, it's a really nice thing. I mean, it would be nice if a lot of other countries did that. But they basically act it in a way. It's kind of like a union. Like they act like your employer, right? So, yeah, you know, like if you're, I think they have a freelancers union too. So if you're a graphic designer or something, you can probably go through that, and they act as kind of a conglomerate employer. So you get healthcare, pension, and all that through them. Um, so yeah, no, it's a good place.
Okay, so sorry, there are lots of questions. I'm just trying to see which one is which one. So, do you have any website, or is it just the Instagram we can reach you from?
No, I have my website, which is Chris Leib, my name.com. Yeah, so there's you know, more work there and interview things and articles and whatnot on there as well, and you know, my lessons and all that teaching.
Okay, so I have to wrap it up, and there are still lots of questions left. And Chris, it was so lovely talking to you here on my live show. I really appreciate it. I love
Thank
it.
you.
And hopefully to see you one day in reality. I don't know, you
Yeah,
here in Melbourne, Australia, or me in Germany.
yeah. Come visit. Yeah, no, I hope to get over there. Thank you for having me on. It's been a real pleasure.
Did you like our conversation?
Yes, I did very much. It was fun.
I, I'm glad. So it was lovely talking to you, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, take care.
All right, Chris, take care. Bye. Bye-bye. Thank you very much. I was talking, I had a great conversation with Chris Leib. If you want to find out more about Chris, you can go to his Instagram page or reach him out through his website or Instagram. Thank you, and I'm sorry that again I didn't get a chance to go through the questions which been sent. And sorry, I have to wrap it up. I really appreciate that. Thank you, and have an amazing time. Take care. Bye bye.